Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and with Ryan gearing up to watch the Euro 2021 final between England and Italy in Manchester live from a pub, and Matthew enjoying the final moments of his parents being up in Queensland before returning to Melbourne, I am flying solo this evening. So it is a solo topic, and tonight let's talk about stress. We all go through periods of stress, those times where you need to reassure yourself that everything is going to be okay. I've been through some extremely stressful situations in my life. We all have. That's because stress is unavoidable, especially in the modern world where we are so busy being busy and trying to do everything we all possibly can rather than subjecting ourselves to idle times, those quiet times where you can de-stress. Because the only universal thing about stress is generally unavoidable. We all go through it. Now, stress comes in all different shapes and sizes for every one of us. You may have some work stress, it may be business stress, it may be relationship stress, it may be financial stress, it may be the stress of a COVID lockdown if you're in Sydney, or the anxiety about getting the AstraZeneca vaccine or any of the vaccines, although AstraZeneca, as we've discussed many times here, is significantly safer than COVID. Anyway, there are lots of stressful situations and there are lots of different triggers for stress out there. Over time, the issue with stress is that the adrenaline released by stress hormones creates a continued state of vigilance with damaging psychological consequences. Effectively, stress can actually kill you indirectly, as it's known to lead to increased heart rate, cardiovascular problems, breathing difficulties, and high blood pressure, all key contributing factors to death. How can you counter stress? Now, there's lots of different ways, and one of the difficult parts is that the downtime to relax properly and de-stress is often really hard to find in modern life. However, you need to be able to find different ways that you can deal with stress, and hopefully it's something healthy. Because while things like drinking, and I've definitely been guilty of using alcohol to cope with stress before, or using other substances can possibly dull the stress right now, they also cause significant short-term and long-term problems. Now, it's easier said than done, but stress is most helped by 5 things, which I'll go through now. Now, the first one's eating healthy, because foods can help tame stress in several ways. Now, one thing is comfort foods like a bowl of warm porridge or pasta. These boost levels of serotonin, which is a calming brain chemical. Other foods can cut levels of cortisol and adrenaline. These are stress hormones that take a toll on the body over time. Now, a healthy diet can help counter the impact of stress by shoring up the immune system and lowering your blood pressure. Now, all carbs prompt the brain to make more serotonin. Sure, if you've got a keto or paleo diet, or some sort of diet where you're not eating any sort of carbs, well, you have to find other areas where you can bring these sort of things into your diet. But effectively, for a steady supply of the feel-good chemical serotonin, it's best to eat complex carbs. Now, we're talking cereals and whole grain breads here, things like that, which take longer to digest rather than simple carbs like sugars. So outside of carbs, yes, and sort of comfort foods, oranges and things which are high in vitamin C. This vitamin can curb levels of stress hormones while strengthening the immune system as well. So it's kind of a double-headed benefit of vitamin C. In one study of people with high blood pressure, and levels of cortisol, which I mentioned before is that stress hormone, returned to normal more quickly when people took vitamin C before a stressful task. Spinach. Now, Popeye, going back to the 1950s cartoons, Popeye probably wasn't overly stressed. He used to pop some spinach, and that's because he probably was a bit stressed when he was kind of trying to get help Olive out, and I can't remember the other characters in in Popeye because I'm not that old. But I've digressed. But spinach is high in magnesium, and too little magnesium can actually trigger headaches and fatigue, which compound the effects of stress. Now, 1 cup of spinach actually helps you stock back up on magnesium. And if you don't like spinach, and certain people don't, although it is fantastic in a smoothie, other green leafy vegetables are good sources of magnesium as well. Or you can try things like cooked soybeans or a fillet of salmon, which is also high in magnesium, as well as the really important omega-3s, which your heart also needs. Almonds, bananas, and avocados are also good for releasing key stress-fighting minerals. Crunchy raw vegetables can help ease stress in a kind of a novel way because munching celery or carrot sticks actually helps release your clenched jaw, which is a sign of stress, and it can also ward off tension. Hey, even chewing sugar-free chewing gum can help keep your jaw loose and avoid that sort of stress clenched jaw feeling, and hopefully not grinding your teeth at night. Now, outside of diet, exercise. Exercise is one of the best stress busting strategies, so start exercising. Aerobic exercise can boost oxygen circulation and spurs your body to make feel good chemicals called endorphins. And you need to aim for about 30 minutes of aerobic exercise 3 or 4 times a week. It doesn't have to be a run like Ryan or smashing the gym like Maddie does 2 hours after you come out of a lockdown. Any aerobic activity, such as a rousing game of tennis or a nature hike, can contribute to this same feeling. It also reduces the negative effects of stress. Exercise can provide stress relief for your body while imitating the effects of stress, such as a fight or flight response, and helping your body and its systems practice working together through those effects. This can lead to positive effects in your body, including cardiovascular, digestive, and immune system improvements. And it also helps protect your body from the harmful effects of stress. Exercise really is meditation in motion. Now, after a fast-paced game of futsal or a long walk or run or several laps in the pool, you may often actually find that you've forgotten the day's irritations and concentrated only on your body's movements. You've basically forgotten everything which is going on in your everyday life. As you begin to regularly shed your daily tensions through movement and physical activity, you may find that this focus on a single task and the resulting energy and optimism can help you stay calm, clear, and focused in everything else that you do. Regular exercise improves your mood and can increase self-confidence, help you relax, and lower symptoms of mild depression and anxiety. All these exercise benefits can ease your stress levels and give you a sense of command over your body and your life. The other thing exercise does is it can improve your sleep, which is often disrupted by stress, depression, and anxiety. Now, on to sleeping, because getting plenty of sleep is important. The fact is that stress and anxiety can cause sleeping problems or worsen existing ones you may have. Poor sleep affects your mood and can contribute to irritability and sometimes even depression. Vital brain functions occur during different stages of sleep that leave you feeling rested and energized, and that help you learn and build memories. I've been guilty of not sleeping well at various times of my life, and sleep at the moment is one of my key things that I focus on. And in fact, it's probably the only thing that I track in my life. I think I eat reasonably well. I think I exercise reasonably well, but because I've had problems sleeping before, or broken sleep, sleep is something I track each night with a little tracker on my wrist, so I can see my sleep score in the morning, even though I generally know how I've slept. It just is reinforcement of factors which go into it. So here are a few tips to help you practice good sleep or sleep hygiene so you can wind down both your body and your mind. And I've had to practice these myself personally. So try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. And I am an absolute loser. I am pretty much in bed by 9:30, at the latest 10 o'clock most nights. Apart from Monday nights where I've started playing futsal and we may have a late game and I go to bed. After that, even on a Friday and Saturday night, I'm often in bed by 9:30 p.m. Sure, I wake up earlier on the weekend. I wake up early regardless, but it also means that I can get up and do exercise. So I get the benefit of a good night's sleep, wake up early and exercise before anybody else gets up. So I've actually done my exercise before most people actually wake up, and that's even on weekends. So I go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Be mindful, which sounds pretty wanky, but shortly before bedtime, try a relaxation strategy that incorporates mindfulness, deep breathing, or meditation, all which boost sleep, time, and quality. Now, I do a little meditation just before bed. In fact, it's while I'm lying in bed. It's just the same repetitive meditation, which goes for about 5 minutes each night. I've shared this on Daddy Eats Last before. So I will go to bed in the dark, laying down with this on. And usually by the end of this, or not long after the end of this meditation, I'll be asleep. Turn screens off early. The blue light emitted by digital devices, including TVs, phones, laptops, and tablets, can throw off your body's internal clock. So avoid them before bedtime. At least get a set of blue blocking glasses, which you may be able to use if you cannot possibly put your phone or your tablet down before bed. Finding a tech-free way to wind down can also help soothe stress. You're not constantly scrolling through your Insta or your TikTok, or even, for older people like me, Facebook. Take a hot bath or shower to relax. Going from warm water into a cooler bedroom will cause your body temperature to drop, naturally making you feel really sleepy. My partner's great at having a hot shower before bed, usually because she's freezing. Apparently sex is good for releasing stress as well, but unfortunately sex needs two people to be involved. So hey, maybe masturbation's a way forward as well, which can help release stress. I know sometimes that helps. Count sheep. It may sound like a silly one, but this actually works. The reason being that when you keep your brain focused on one thing, it helps you power down. You can also try focusing on your breathing, consciously taking deep breaths in and out until you feel calmer. So it's not actually counting sheep as such, but it's focusing on something which is not your brain, and your brain going over the same thing over and over again is literally just one, breathe, two, breathe, three, breathe. So it's focusing away from the thoughts which can keep you awake. Also avoid caffeine, alcohol, larger meals, and foods that induce things like heartburn, and drinking a lot of fluid for several hours before bedtime. And in fact, caffeine has, if you have a cup of coffee or 100 grams of coffee at midday, by midnight you still will have caffeine in your bloodstream. As I mentioned, exercising regularly is a great stress reliever, and has been shown to improve the quality of sleep, particularly for people who have insomnia. You have to try to make sure that your intense workouts aren't too close to bedtime, because they can stop you from being able to fall asleep. You can also try worrying early in the day. When your mind is racing with concerns when you're trying to fall asleep, that can actually make it nearly impossible for you to drift off. So plan for 15 minutes during the day to process your sort of worrying thoughts, even though that is probably impossible. At least you can try. Writing a to-do list or thinking about solutions can be a really good way to deal with stress and prevent it from interfering with sleep later on. Can have a herbal tea. Chamomile and other herbal teas can help relax and soothe the body. There are also a whole bunch of sleep teas out there. It's probably better than using something like a melatonin or a valerian. If you can just use a herbal tea like a chamomile with a good book, make that your mini routine to end the night before you go to bed. Maybe with that warm shower and the meditation, yeah, that's a significant contributor to you having a better sleep. And the final one is, if you're having trouble falling asleep after 20 minutes of turning off the lights, or if you wake up and you can't fall back to sleep in the middle of the night, something you should do, which sounds counterintuitive, is to get out of bed and do something relaxing until you're sleepy. Like have a cup of tea or read a bit of a book. Now I do this. If I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't get back to sleep in my bed within 20 minutes, I'll go and lay down on the couch. I have a mask which I can wear over my face. I'll also try putting that on. But I'll just change that sort of sleep environment. It's a bit the same here as it's just trying to get out of bed and do something relaxing until you feel sleepy. So that's sleep. You also need to give yourself a break if you start to feel stressed out, or even if you don't. In this era of multitasking, we endure increasing tension at work and at home. In our effort to try to get more stuff done in the same amount of time, we often eliminate breaks from our work schedule and our life. But research shows that short, frequent breaks actually help us get more accomplished by reducing stress and helping us concentrate better. When you're lost in your work or feel frustrated that something isn't going well, you can actually neglect your breaks. Now, here are some tips to prompt you to regularly step away and rebuild your energy. Firstly, you need to agree break times. You can agree break times with your workmates or housemates if you're working from home, and help each other to stick to the break times that you've agreed to. You can also set an alarm on your phone to prompt you to take a break. You can plan to do something in your break that you enjoy, because the anticipation of pleasure will motivate you to actually keep that break in your schedule. You need to pay attention to any benefits you experience when you take a break, because this will lodge in your mind and motivate you to take breaks in the future. You're reinforcing that taking a break meant that you were better when you went back to work later on. You can even use post-it notes or drawings in your workspace to remind you to take a break. And I have a little whiteboard which sits in front of my computer. It doesn't prompt me to take a break at the moment, but I'm going to update it to remind me to take a break periodically during the day. Now, the last one, then we've gone through a few things to mainly deal with ways to get rid of the symptoms of stress, or improve the way you can deal with stress. But you really need to deal with the underlying problem as well. This is maybe the most important of the tips, as it deals with the root cause. And there's really no right way of attacking this. But in my personal experience, asking yourself two questions can be a big help. The first question is, what am I worrying about? And really, I'm trying to get to what is the worst thing that can happen. So under this question, you need to analyze the situation honestly and work out the worst possible thing that can happen from this situation which is causing you stress. So this thing that is causing you stress, could you lose your job over it? Maybe. Could you go to jail? Probably not. But you need to accept the situation and that the worst may actually happen. And then you can move on and think about ways to mitigate the worst that may happen. So this is question number 2. What can you do about it? How can you control this? Can you tell your boss what has happened? Can you change your business? You have to remember here, all you're trying to do is improve on your worst case scenario, which you have already accepted after that first question of working out what that worst case scenario is. Now, ignoring the problem probably isn't the best way of improving on your solution or improving the outcome. You need to spend as much time as you can working through the different solutions and how they may affect your worst case scenario. Because if you've accepted the worst case scenario, it may be you may lose your job if it's a work situation and you've buggered something up at work. You've accepted that and you're just trying to improve on it, which maybe you can tell your boss what has happened and they can help you work through this situation. There, after you've actually worked out how you can kind of improve your worst case scenario, you simply decide that is the course of action to take and you do it. That way you gain some control of your outcome and it's not some nebulous conceptual thing out there floating in space. You've defined the problem and what the outcome will be, and you've put something in place to make that outcome for you better. You're owning a little bit of your situation. You've got a little bit of control over this situation, which is causing you stress. And that little bit of control will mean that you stress less about it because you've put some thought and you've put some effort and you've been real and honest about it and you're controlling a little bit more. Because trust me, everyone feels stress. It's a normal thing to feel, and a small amount of stress can actually increase energy and motivation. But too much stress, as I said earlier, can be paralyzing and be really, really bad for your health. Stress also impacts your ability to feel less stress, as when life becomes busy or stressful, again, self-care is that first thing that gets sacrificed. The exact self-care, which is the exact thing that would help you alleviate your stress. It's like a dog chasing its tail. Ongoing stress is not good for your physical or mental health. It's not a realistic goal or plan to dodge all stress. Proactively doing what you can to reduce it is a great strategy when it inevitably comes. Now that's all this week for Daddy Eats Last. I hope if you're going through a stressful situation at the moment that helps, or you can keep this up your sleeve for when a stressful situation inevitably comes to your door. Do remember to subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes if you haven't done already. And while you're there, please leave a review. Also, tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening. I'll be back next week with another episode, or should I say serving of Daddy Eats Last. How's that for a dad joke? Catch you next week.
Bye bye. Bye bye.